Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, June the 4th. This will be a video for our upcoming 6th graders. On Monday, we had a video that worked with prime factorization. In this chapter, there are going to be two other ideas that you're going to be asked to work with at the same time. And I wanted to devote a separate video to those. So let's take a look at those other two ideas and see how those relate to what we're working with prime factorization. So as a review, or if you didn't see the video on Monday, prime factorization is where we take a larger number and break it up into the prime numbers that we can multiply together to get to that larger number. So for instance, I can do 2 times 12 to get 24. The 12 can be broken up into 2 times 6, and the 6 can be broken up into 2 times 3. And my prime factorization would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So our other two ideas are finding the greatest common factor or least common multiple of two different numbers. Let's go ahead and take a look at those steps, and you should be able to see as we're working through these examples why I use the same steps. If your teacher, if you are not a Risen Christ student, gives you different steps, go ahead and keep in mind that this is something that you can do, but I would recommend that you follow whatever they recommend for you to do if it works. So the first thing I normally do, because I'm really big on being able to solve problems in your head and working with mental math strategies, if you can multiply the smaller number by something to get to the larger number, that will usually get you your answer. So 12 is going to be my greatest common factor of both 12 and 24, because I can do 12 times 2 to get to 24. But let's go ahead and make our list so you can see how that works out. Here are our list of factors. So I can do 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6 to get to 24. I can do 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4 to get to 12. So step 3, we are going to circle our matching pairs. So this can be a matching pair of factors that we can use to get to both of these numbers. So is 3, so is 4, 6, and 12. But because we're asking for the greatest common factor, we're asking for the largest one, which would give us 12 as our answer. There will be times that we may end up having 1 as the answer. You're not going to really run into that too much in 6th grade, but it is a possibility. So let's take a look at what that would look like. Here is our list of factors. So for 15, I can do 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. For 22, I can do 1 times 22 and 2 times 11, which means the only one of those that would match would be 1. You're usually not going to see this kind of problem show up in your math book, but I just wanted to kind of point out that that is a possibility. Now let's take a look at our least common multiple. We can do the same steps. Can I multiply by 6 to get to 9? No, I cannot. I do know that I can multiply by 3 to get to both of those numbers, so 3 might be a number that is a repeated number if we were working with our greatest common factors. But because we're working with multiples, we are going to be looking for numbers that are bigger than 6 or bigger than 9. So what I normally recommend that you do when you're making your list is start with the larger number and go ahead and write out maybe the first 4 or 5 multiples, and then do the same thing for the smaller number and then see if you have a match. If we get our first match, that is going to be our least common multiple of both numbers. All right, here is our list. So for 6, our multiples of 6 would be 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. For 9, it would be 9, 18, which would give us a match. 27, 36, and 45. One of the common traps that we fall into is the idea of taking these two numbers and multiplying them together. Yes, that will give you a common multiple. So if we made this list and went all the way out to the answer to 6 times 9, which would be 54, 54 would be a matching pair. If we actually went one more in our list for 6s, we would get 36, and that would be our next matching pair. But we want the smallest matching pair. So if we're multiplying these two numbers together, there is a good chance that that is not going to give us our least common multiple, but it will always give us a common multiple. So 18 would be our least common multiple for that. So one of the reasons why I want to go over this is because we end up in a situation where we can get confused. And so asking for the greatest common factor versus the least common multiple versus prime factorization can be a little bit much when we're switching gears constantly. So I wanted to introduce these concepts to you. If you want to practice at home, again, you can just pick a pair of numbers and you can see what you get. So hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, Risen Christ students, please feel free to reach out to me. Google Classroom does still work, so you can go in there and send me a message, or you can send me an email. And then for those of you that are not Risen Christ students, of course, you're more than welcome to reach out to your classroom teacher. I'm sure they're still available if you want to ask about things, or just keep this in mind for when the school year starts. Keep your questions in mind and be ready to ask those at that point. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video, which will be on Monday.